Next up, we have Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan. Sterling coming in as a plus 350 underdog against Yan, a negative 450 favorite. And this is going to be a fun fight because it's going to be the conclusion to so much shit talking that's been going on since their last meetup, where Yan ended up getting disqualified after pounding Sterling's face in for an illegal knee strike to the head. And yeah, I feel like this is another one where there's a few ways maybe that Sterling can win, but the odds are definitely not in his favor. He's going to need to execute on some game plan. Although I do think I will say this, I think Sterling is actually going to have a better performance this time around than he did the first time around. I think it'll be closer than it was last time, and the reason for that is because Sterling came off really strong in their last fight. In the first round, he looked great when Sterling had his output, just to the max and lots of volume and lots of movement all over the place. I don't think that he had Yan in trouble, but he definitely was racking up points and avoiding any big hits, I feel like, in that first round. And you could also tell the coaches knew this as well. They kept yelling at him the entire time, even when the tide started to turn, that Sterling had to keep his pace up if he's going to have any chance at winning. And so now that Sterling's been in there, he's gone a few rounds with them. He knows where he was successful and he knows when he got in trouble. And I feel like he started to get in trouble just when he was kind of gassed out. And then Yan was just able to use his technical striking ability and just put it on Sterling and, throw some massive hits and put him in trouble. What are your thoughts on this one?
I definitely agree with what you were saying about how Sterling, the last fight, had his moments. Definitely had me, on the edge of my seat where I was like, oh, Yan is fading. Yan is, getting touched. He's backing up. I want to see this be a definitive conclusion. I want it to be like, whoever wins, like, that was a fluke. And I hope it's Yan, because I don't care for the way that, it ended. I don't, I know fighters get hurt. I know all that stuff. To me, it was too quick of a recovery by Sterling to be coherent and cognizant, like, when he had plenty of time to keep trying to recover. You've seen these guys get hit in the head really hard, kneed in the head, kicked every type of strike to the head. So it's hard for me to think that unless, like, they're completely out, that they're hurt for too long of a time. And, the fact that he was pretty coherent right afterwards, to me, that wasn't a strike that landed very hard. Yeah, I don't know. Still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, but I want Yan to knock him out, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't like how Sterling has been conducting himself since then, having the surgery and being like, oh, I hurt myself. Like, I don't know. It just has left a bad taste in my mouth. And Yan has just been super humble, graceful, and I want to see people like that continue to win and be acknowledged versus somebody who, won in the manner that Sterling did and be as loud as he is and be as, kind of brash and in a way disrespectful. Like, we all know I wanted to see you lose, but
yeah, I don't blame Sterling at all for saying that he can't continue when you take a strike like that to the head that was illegal. After how many times have we seen John Jones, foul somebody in the most egregious way, and then the guy continues on, and then he just ends up losing, like the most recent one being with Anthony Smith, where Jones did completely illegal strike, compromised the guy. Anthony Smith's like, I can continue, and then he just ends up getting destroyed. So I don't blame a guy. If you take an illegal strike and it really didn't affect him too much, maybe a groin strike or something like that. If it were stopped for some reason other than there was really some medical issue from a groin strike, I'd have a problem with a fighter not taking the full time and saying he can or can't continue. But I actually don't agree with the ref asking the fighter if they can continue after they've had an illegal strike to the head, because I feel like, the least trustworthy opinion in the ring at that point is the guy who just took a blow to the head. So,
and that's who you're asking.
Whether or not, whether or not he's fine to continue, I think it should be up to the ref and the doctor, and you shouldn't even ask the fighter, I think, if they've got a strike that if they got a strike to the groin, I feel like that's a different issue. With eye pokes, maybe you can ask the fighter, but I still think it should be left up. I don't think the fighter should even be involved in the decision in that case. The thing that I think made it so weird was that this was the first time in UFC history where the title changed hands because of a disqualification. And I think that's where so much, there was so much controversy around it, was that there was a title on the line, and the title changed hands through disqualification, which, no one ever wants to see the guy holding the belt because the other guy got disqualified. So I will defend Sterling a little bit. Since then, I feel like the reason there's been so much shit talking from Sterling is because what is the guy going to do? If you put yourself in his shoes, everybody knows that he didn't win it the way everybody wanted him to win it. And I feel like he just kind of embraced, the heel position and, just decided to roll with it instead of, trying to defend himself. He just kind of, hammed it up and played it up, and I don't know. I think he had fun with it. But we're gonna see when they go back into the ring who really is the winner. The odds makers, obviously, based on that first fight, are putting it in Jan's favor, and I'd agree with. I'm picking Jan to win. I want to see Jan win. I think he's a great guy. He's got a great story behind him. I mean, Sterling too, as well. But Jan's striking is I think pretty special. He's one of those guys. He kind of reminds me of, like we talked about, Arnold Allen in terms of how technical he is. His defense and striking is rock solid, which is why I think he has no problem letting guys get burned out, for 1 or 2 rounds, is because he's so confident in his ability, his striking defense ability to take those shots, to set the counters. And I think he spends that first round really getting down a guy's timing, is what I've seen, not just in that Sterling fight, but I've seen with other fights as well. So I think Jan has something special when it comes to striking. I definitely want to see, him come out on top on this one and get back what is rightfully his, that title.
You bring up a good point where, if somebody feels like they're compromised, like they're not able to continue 100%, is it wise to continue? Giving that the circumstances are now against you, the odds are against you, and you bring up good points where fighters have continued only to get finished convincingly. So if you trained and prepared for all this, and you wouldn't go into this fight unless you were 100%, and then in the fight, you are no longer 100%, what should you do as a professional athlete? Should you risk yourself, given that if you get hurt, you get dropped, you get stopped, whatever, best case scenario, you get a quick medical suspension, you recover, but what about worst case scenario? We have yet to see that in the UFC where somebody, pays the price or has a long medical recovery, besides, the Conor McGregor breaking his leg and Anderson or Chris Weidman. But like, you can never, who wants to go into a fight with somebody who's great at striking, knowing that you're not fully present, fully aware, fully capable of defending yourself and attacking. So good point.
Yeah, and that was crazy to watch, and it makes you feel so bad for Jan, because the way the fight had turned, he was going to win. It's not like he did that illegal strike because he was losing and it was his way out or anything like that. So it was just one of those things, the heat of the moment, just did something he shouldn't have done. So, yeah, looking forward to this fight. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be a good one. I think Jan's going to come out on top.